And what this tells you is contaminants detected that exceeds the environmental working group's health guidelines. Now, when we look at the FDA's number, and that's meant about like what are things that are going to kill you, right? Things that are going to do it really fast. But what happens when you get routine exposure over 10, 20, 30 years? That's really not talked about, but it should be because it's long term exposure to many of these things is what's most detrimental. As we talked about arsenic, their recommendations, right? Guess what? 1,132 times the recommended amount by the Environmental Working Group. Now, some people say, like, oh, but it's half of the legal limit. Okay. But half of the legal limit still isn't healthy, especially when we're talking about this level of exposure for years and even decades. So now there's all sorts of detoxes and cleanses that people do to help with heavy metals, environmental toxins. But for me, the very first part you should start off with is reducing exposure because you can do the best detoxes in the world. But if you're routinely exposed to things, you're not going to get the improvement that you should.